What's going on, Vault Hunters? Are you tired of hearing that Amon's not good enough and you want to melt bosses like this? Maybe you want to put belt to ass on a boss like this. Well, you've come to the right place. This is your boy Kornbread. The game is Borderlands 4, and this is my icy hot Amon build. So this Amon build is a tank build. However, you are going to deal a decent amount of damage. Now, will it be the same amount of damage that you would deal with a Siren or maybe your Assassin in Rafa? No, but you will be able to tank way more damage than they can, as well as dish out a solid amount of damage. You will not one hit these bosses, but these bosses will not do damage to you while you still consistently melt them. All right, so let's get into the skill tree for this build. We start off with 5 points into Wrath of Nature, which gives you increased status effect application chance as well as cryo effectiveness. Once again, this is the icy hot build, so we're powering up that ice and that fire. Next is Scorched Kairos, which gives you increased ordnance damage and magazine size. Make sure you max this out as well. We're gonna need that magazine size, and of course we need that ordnance damage. Adding on into the tankier side of things, we do a max 3 passive skills into the Thrill, which gives you a missing health regeneration through stacks of Resolute. Now imagine being a tank and doing more damage because the enemy cannot damage you. Well, because of that, we introduce Battleborn. Put 5 skills into this passive tree and you get increased gun damage the more full your health is. We then add on more damage with Tail of the Comet. All right. With this, whenever you deal ordnance damage, there's a chance to apply a cryo status effect that deals cryo damage over time for a duration. This is also affected by the status effect application chance, which we also increase with our Wrath of Nature that we put 5 points into earlier. Next, I have 3 points into Scar Tissue, which gives you increased maximum health capacity and rep kit healing. I will tell you right now, if you're using this build as a foundation to maybe create your own build scaling off of this one, these are your 3 flex points. You can put these 3 points somewhere else in the tree to change up the build to your liking. But this is where I have them. This is where I like it as a tank. Now, Ancient Ways is something that you apply later in the build. However, it increases your cryo damage. It's just a flat increase to cryo damage, but 5 passive skills in this gives you a plus 30% increase to it. Machinist is also a skill that you can come to later on in the build. It's a kill skill that gives Amon a percentage of ordnance cooldown for every kill that he gets. At 3 points, it gives you 21%. Once you start unlocking a specialized part of the skill tree, you want to start putting your points into Wildfire. This gives you increased ricochet damage, burning damage, and burning duration. This is where the bulk of your fire damage will come from. Now, one of the cornerstones of this build is indeed Ballistic Bulwark. 5 points into this, and you gain Overshield when you deal ordnance damage. Now, we've put a lot of points into your ordnance damage, and now you'll be getting 15% of that back as an Overshield. Now, once you get Ballistic Bulwark, you're going to make your way over to Icy Raid, which gives you cryo affinity for all your kills that you make with cryo damage stacking up. There's a maximum of 5 stacks, but these stacks increase your gun damage. And next we'll move on to Winter's Kiss, which consumes stacks of cryo affinity for each nearby enemy to spawn an elemental charge, which then does cryo damage over an area. And now for our capstones, the first one being Eternal Winter, which your 4 waves now partially restore action skill duration when they do damage. This will keep your action skill going for the majority of a battle as long as you're doing damage. Now with your final capstone, you're going to go with Ring of Frostfire. This will turn your firewall into a ring around wherever you're aiming. So not only will it block enemy projectiles and speed up your own projectiles and give them fire damage, it will also deal incendiary damage to enemies inside of the ring, as well as cryo damage to any enemy that either passes through it in any form, whether they're in it or they go outside of it. If they pass through the wall, it will do cryo damage. For my class mod, I have the Biting Icebringer. This gives me plus 25% to splash damage, plus 600 maximum health capacity, and plus 22% to my gun damage. This all scales well with our build. And for our specializations, we will put 20 points into Survivor and 10 points into Brute so that we can unlock Gadgeteer. And from there, you will just scale Survivor and Gadgeteer, picking the perks that you see fit that will best help you build. And next, I'll be going into the gear. I'll be talking about the gear that I have, as well as where to farm for this gear. The first piece of legendary gear that we'll be going over is the Plasma Coil, which can be farmed from the final boss being the Timekeeper. It's a submachine gun that does radiation and electric damage. Its legendary perk is Superheated, which just allows you to reload faster, and it has more firepower. The next legendary weapon I'll be talking about is the Stopgap. This is a legendary sniper rifle with a legendary perk of Reconfigure, which is when it fires, the fire rate decreases down to 20%, but damage increases up to 750%. What happens here is as you hold the trigger, the fire rate slows down, but the damage increases incrementally over time, dependent on mag size. This weapon can be farmed from the back hive. The next legendary weapon I'm going to talk about is the Husky Friend. This weapon does not do a ridiculous amount of damage when firing. The main draw to this weapon is its legendary attribute being Husky Auto Turret. You use this to place out a friendly turret that stays active for about 30 seconds, doing good ordnance damage. Now, the Husky Friend legendary shotgun can be farmed from the Primordial Guardian Inceptus in his vault in the Fade Field. Now, the last and certainly not least weapon I'll be talking about is the Oscar Mike assault rifle. This weapon has two legendary attributes. The first one is tactical rounds, where the first half of your magazine deals 50% bonus damage. This is also good with increased mag capacity. And then the second one you want is Space Laser. This deals a ridiculous amount of damage every 0.2 seconds over the span of 1.5 seconds. This weapon can drop with a second perk that's not Space Laser, so you want to farm it until you get Space Laser. The Oscar Mike assault rifle can be farmed from Gen 1. For rep kits, I suggest you go with either the Pacemaker or the Triple Bypass. Our first major non-negotiable item for this build is the Jelly Grenade, which can be found via Splash Zone. This has the self-replicating legendary perk, which allows it to spawn multiple other grenades of its type, and it also is a Ripper Grenade, which makes it teleport to its destination. For enhancements, I like to use the Inheritor enhancement for Daedalus. This enhancement has an on kill chance of 40% chance to refill your magazine. So as you kill things with your Oscar Mike, you have a 40% chance to refill that magazine and replenish your tactical round. Our next non-negotiable piece of gear is the Firework Shield. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's the real deal. This is especially important for this build, as the missile swarm that comes off of this shield does ordnance damage, and we are made to deal massive ordnance damage. When you pair this with Jelly, one, One of the two has to be fire and the other has to be cold. You could switch it however you like. And once again, both the fireworks shield and the jelly grenade can be farmed from Flash Zone. And now I'm going to leave you guys with some gameplay of the build, just the build out there doing what it does, just so you can see it and you can decide this build for you. Hey, if you like this stuff, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm also a streamer on Twitch, so if you can, just go ahead and give me a follow over there. This stuff takes a lot of work and it would just let me know I'm on the right path and you appreciate what I'm doing here. And with that being said, Vault Hunters, y'all have a blessed day. I'm Kornbread, and I'll see y'all in the next one.